Alrighty, welcome back everyone, and Merry Christmas for those of you that are watching this around that time. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 AI bot match. We have got ourselves what is going to be a good one here today. We're on the map Golden Aura, of course, the AI edition, as we've got two of these metal mines going to be going up against each other. And it's actually going to be a really interesting match, as it's one of the better Zerg bots. It's Eris, going to be taking on Phobos, which is a bot that I haven't cast a lot. But interestingly enough, these two bots are both made by the same team. So I guess kind of testing out their agents against each other. And yeah, it's gonna be a good one, that's for sure. As Eris definitely a good bot, and Phobos made by the same bot authors, so presumably very good too. And yeah, we've got normal openings from both of these bots. But before we get too far into this game, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to go ahead, hit that like button if you haven't already. Consider subscribing. There's that subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified whenever I put up a new video, a new post, anything like that. Then join the Discord, which is linked down below. Leave a comment that says more bots if you want to see more of these bots. More boats, more bananas, more bagels, whatever it may be. And then consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support this rather niche bot content. And yeah, let's just see where this game's going from here. This is one of those games with these high-level bots. I couldn't even really tell, just looking at the replay, if I blocked out the APM. I couldn't really tell that either of these are a bot, per se. So that's quite interesting. And then the Reaper going to be moving on out for Phobos, so going for a Reaper expand. All the while, Eris going to be going for just normal Zerg stuff, getting a couple lings out, queens on the way. We'll check how well this Reaper gets microed. Thinking about it, looking at the Reaper, it's probably the first way that you'd tell that it's a bot, just the way that those are controlled. Going back and forth. And then, yeah, just got a factory on the way behind this, command center getting on up. A Terran bot taking on a Zerg bot. And I do feel like in the pro bot scene that the Zerg bots seem to be pretty dominant. Now, that's not in tournaments and stuff, just there definitely is a lot of really good Zerg bots. And so seeing a Terran bot that's potentially pretty darn good too, made by the same authors of one of these great Zerg bots, is very exciting. So far, that Reaper just scouting on out, tossing down its grenade. I believe it's killed off one Zergling. Staying alive. Softening up these units, being a big old pain in the butt for Eris. This is one of those things, if you ever play versus some of these bots, trying to keep up with their micro is very difficult, because you get tired and frustrated as a human, you get distracted. The bot does not. It will micro that Reaper all day long. It does not care. So the queens for Eris are doing a good job zoning this out so far. The Reaper not really getting a chance to kill a drone or anything like that. We've got Concussive Shell on the way for Phobos, and it actually looks like that this is going to be a Marauder Hellbat build. A very aggressive Terran opening coming out of the blue bot. And this is a lethal TVZ build, one of the builds that can just straight out kill a Zerg if the Zerg is not prepared. So it's cool to see that we're seeing a bot execute a strategy that has as much, I'll say, finesse as is required for this. Like, the build definitely has to come together. Like, you gotta transform your Hellbats or decide where to put your Hellions, and then just all the micro and everything required. So we'll see how well Phobos is gonna execute this. Just cluing in now that Phobos, I believe, is one of the moons of Mars. And Eris, I wonder what the name from that is from. There's definitely a naming theme here. And now let's take a look here. Just more Hellions, Marauders on the way for Phobos. Interestingly enough, Eris hasn't really scouted this out, so I'm not sure it's going to be too prepared to deal with this. Look at this. Medivac loaded up with 3 Marauders in it. Hellions crossing the map. It's going to be a strong attack, and Eris is going to have a very tough time defending against this. 10 Lings are on the way, but it's really going to need some Roaches out. It's got a Roach Warren up, but no Roaches have been produced yet. Those Hellions are going to transform into Hellbats. Marauder's going to unload on the creep. And all of a sudden, we're going to see if Eris is going to react to this or not. It needs to be making units, and more units. We'll see how well the attack from Phobos is. Lings engaging, Queens engaging. The play from these bots is insane. This looks just like how a human player would defend this for the most part. Well, if they were caught off guard, as Eris was, and Eris definitely was caught off guard, however, it's got 9 Roaches on the way. The burrow that it researched coming in clutch to save its drones can really minimize the losses here. Not something that human players rush for, but it is really helping out this bot author right now, keeping these drones alive. 7 drones have gone down this game, but now Roaches are starting to come on out. And while this was a very aggressive attack, and it really did kind of catch Eris off guard, there hasn't been too much damage getting done here. Hellbat's cooking up some of the drones in the ground as they unburrow. Marauders are microing against these Roaches, but the Roaches, of course, can burrow, regain their HP. The Medivac got targeted down by the Queens, and so it looks like that this has been a hold from Eris, and an incredible one at that. Now, I'm not going to say that Phobos didn't get the damage done that it needed to, but it definitely got some damage done. But keep in mind, this was a big commitment by the Terran bot, which is now just making, oh my gosh, so many Marines. It's got like 8 racks out, going up to 9 racks off of 2 bases. Just such an aggressive Terran bot, and so it's going to have a follow-up to this coming. We'll see if Eris is going to be prepared to deal with that or not. There's a Marine drop moving out behind this. There's no stim on these Marines, no combat shields started, no +1 melee. It's just regular old Marines, a few Medivacs to support. There's a lot of tanks that have been produced by Phobos, so it really is going to be committing a lot to this big attack. This one Marauder is still skirmishing with the Roaches. Quite a long battle, but I get the feeling he'll perish eventually, but he is doing a good job. Oh, are these going to unburrow and get him? This could be trouble for our Marauder friend, but all the while this drop is going off. Eris burrows those drones. It is losing mining time when those drones burrow. It's not just a get out of jail free card when it comes to being an end-all with harassment, but so far those Marines unloading, getting a little bit of harassment damage done, but not too much. This Marauder, oh no, he goes down. The Medivac could have saved him, but it didn't. The Medivac still boosting around, but here we see Phobos moving across the map. It's got a Raven, which is going to be so key to a push like this. It's going to allow the Roaches that are burrowed to be killed much easier. However, the Roaches of Eris do get on top of one of these tanks. That's quite a nice pickoff. Roaches burrowed in the ground, but there's that Raven giving vision on them. They're getting picked off. The tanks are re-sieging because Roaches try and get a flank off, but those tanks are going to shred those Roaches. Most of them die, and now Phobos is coming in with a big, scary attack here. Eris down about 20 supply, a lot of that in Roaches. The burrow is really going to be countered by this Raven here. That is such a decision by the bot author of Phobos to include that. And when it comes to playing against all these Zerg bots, I think that's a phenomenal decision. Roach is just getting shelled away by the tanks. The Roaches are skirmishing as well as they can, burrowing, retreating. So a lot of them are dying, more so than usual because of that Raven. However, drones being pulled into the mix, it looks like, and the Roaches are trading out as well as they can. I mean, these Marines, they don't have stim, no combat shields, so they do die to these +1 Roaches, but Eris is potentially going to lose its 4th base. It just lost a big chunk of workers, and then dealing with the siege tanks is a problem. It's not like these Roaches can burrow and swim underground towards those tanks, or tunnel, I guess, but yeah, so dealing with these tanks is going to be a problem when it's a prolonged trade like this, and now Phobos is coming on in. Eris has got lots more bases up. It's got this base to the far right. It's securing up this other location, but it already lost one of these bases. It's still just trading out with the Marines, and it's now half the army supply of our 2 basic Terran bot. A lot of these bots just go nuts with the expanding, but Phobos just says, nope, 2 base for the win, and it's not one yet, but it's looking a little rough for Eris. A lot of these Marines are injured, however. It's all going to depend on the tank positioning too, but look at this, the tank's just shelling away on more and more of these Roaches. The Medivac's healing up some of these Marines too. Looks like these Marines here may potentially go down, so the third may be saved for now. But look at this, so many Marines here. Apparently you don't need combat shield. Apparently you don't need stim pack on your Marines. You just need them to basically be fodder for your tanks. And that is working out phenomenally. Looks like Eris is attempting some roach counter-harassment. But these roaches, they're getting caught. Some long-distance mining starting for Phobos. Good to see that it's got that behavior built into it. Those roaches will burrow and harass a little bit. This could potentially turn things around for Eris. I mean, it's a lot of pressure on these roaches to get work done, and they have stopped going on in, but some roaches are crossing the map now, potentially going to catch these Marines. That would be a big win, but they're not actually engaging, whereas I feel they definitely could have, and that would have been the window. All the while, these tanks are still just being a nuisance. Queens are crossing the map. This game is getting a little bit messy here. Eris has taken a big beating to its economy as it loses that fourth base. It's re-establishing this base, so it's not skipping a beat. Roaches are now coming from behind, potentially looking for an engagement. We shall see. Some of these drones burrowed to the top up here, but the tanks are still such a problem. And that Raven isn't necessarily with them all the time, so maybe a human could put that together, but I'm not sure that a bot is going to say, hey, the Raven's out of position, let's burrow under these tanks. So it's just looking a little bit impossible here for Eris to deal with this. The roaches are dealing with these Marines. They're actually trapped in a corner. That's not good. They will burrow and escape, at least some of them. But it seems that Eris is... its lack of willingness to commit to an engagement, the micro behavior that it has cost it a little bit, just because the roaches move in, they take a shot, they retreat. But we do see now an engagement moving forward, takes care of two of the siege tanks, doesn't quite get that third one, which is unfortunate. Eris is really fighting out, and this is such a high-level StarCraft 2 bot game, as Phobos is still just rallying units, more long-distance mining as it's mined out its main base. So time kind of is on Eris' side. The army supply is evening out a little bit, just barely. Hydras are out now for the Zerg. Upgrades are still being researched for the Zerg. Tanks shelling away on some of the Marines. This is actually so darn close here, as Eris is just trying to hang on, but those Marines are killing off a lot of the drones. That is another big economic blow to the Zerg. Some roaches still sharking around, keeping some of this blue Terran supply busy, but now the third's not mining. That's very problematic for Eris, but this game was so close. It seems, and it's not over yet, but it really is looking quite rough for Eris, as it's now down 70 supply just about, and that is almost a little bit too much. The upgrades are really good for Eris, so I mean, if things just went a little bit better, like I feel like this could have been a total hold for Eris, but not quite. Those roaches they ate too many shots from the tanks earlier. And how many kills do some of these tanks have? 21, there we go, 27, 21, and some of those ones that died probably had quite a few kills on them too. And so it looks like that this is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Eris is attempting to take another base, but it's just not been able to deal with the army. And I mean, that was a long engagement. Phobos mined out both of its bases, so it's strictly on long-distance mining at this point. So it really was close to running out of steam. So if Eris had just hung on a little bit longer, Phobos wouldn't have been able to start replacing those units. Interestingly enough, Phobos does not lift off one of its command centers. But then again, most of its games probably don't go that long. I feel it probably just wins or loses a lot of them. And so what a great match between these two. Incredibly well done by Team Eris. Your bots are fantastic. And so if you guys enjoyed this one, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, consider becoming a YouTube member, and if you are a bot author, post your replays either in my Discord or the sc2ai.net Discord. And then, yeah, have a Merry Christmas, everyone. There'll probably be another couple videos coming out between now and New Year's, I imagine, but if not, regardless, happy holidays and whatnot. And yeah, what a great game this was.